What's good, Chaotic Nation? It is your boy Chaos here, and we are back with the PDL Season 4. And this is going to be my team builder. Now, as you guys may know, I have started a new team, new logo, new brand, and everything. We are the Detroit Red Wingulls from now until whenever I decide to change it again, which is hopefully probably never. Shout out to Polian for making this awesome logo for me. I really do appreciate it, my man. We are the Detroit Red Wingulls this season and for all eternity, most likely. I really am excited to join again as the Detroit Red Wingulls, and I'm excited to play in my own league, Part 4. Dude, this is the 4th season of PDL. If you had asked me when I started Season 1 if we were going to continue on, honestly, I wouldn't have told you we would have made it past Season 1. Because we have had a bunch of really difficult times trying to get people together. It's been really interesting trying to figure out everybody's schedules and also find interest in the league. But I feel like this season is better than any season before. At the beginning of the season, we had 12 teams competing. We are down to 9 at the moment, which is, according to the draft time, we are at 9 teams, which is still an improvement because we've had 6 is the max, which was last season. We have 9 now. We added a couple more people, found some new guys. It's been a fun time overall. We're hoping we can get some more people, maybe 12 maxed out at the next season. But as for now, we got to take a look at the Detroit Red Wingulls and my team for this season. So get some hype in the chat if you're ready to see the champion go back and grab his 4th championship in a row. That's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. You bet it's going to happen. So moving into our picks, we have our first pick, which is Venusaur. Now, before I talk about Venusaur, I want to talk about the league a little bit more. We have done divisions this season, and the division that I am in includes myself and Tech at Beasting and Tui. So, you know, hopefully those guys start playing better because I don't want to just steamroll them and win. I want to have some challenge. But another goal for me this season is to make teams really fast and work that way instead of having to sit here and do my usual couple hours of trying to figure out what team I'm going to bring. I'm going to try to do it fast within an hour or two, and hopefully I can get really good teams that way because I feel like I've done a lot of draft league. I've worked in the higher ups doing some battles and things like that. So I think I know a little bit more about what I'm doing, and I've seen a lot of the sets, so hopefully I can figure out what I want to do really quickly instead of having to take forever to decide it. But let's move into the picks. We got Venusaur. So I had the first overall pick in this draft. I chose to take Venusaur, which is the tier 4 mon right off the bat. And it makes a valid point because in this draft league, if you decide to take a Mega Pokemon, you also take the regular Pokemon off the board. So me taking Venusaur round 1 means that Mega Venusaur is not available for anybody else later in the game. And this is huge. I think pretty much every team wanted this Pokemon or its Mega form in some form. Mega Venusaur is an absolute tank. But I wanted to grab Venusaur because it has a nice niche on my team as a nice solid linchpin. This is a very defensive mon, can be very offensive, also very fast. Venusaur just has really good stats all around, and you know, it's my least favorite Canada starter, but it's still a really solid mon, and I still really like it. So hopefully this thing is going to be putting in a lot of work. I wanted to grab it tier 1, first round, because I knew if I did not grab it, I would not have the chance to grab it, because as the first pick, I had to wait 9 picks. I had to wait, not 9 picks. I had to wait 18 picks to get another pick again. So I have the wheel pick where I have to wait for everybody else to draft, and then they draft again, and then it comes back to me, and I get 2 in a row. So me grabbing Venusaur, it was very important to get a really good first round draft for me, because if I didn't get something to make my team really good, I was in trouble right off the bat. So Venusaur is going to be a very interesting mon. It's a great utility mon, can do a lot of different things, and hopefully for me it becomes a solid linchpin. I decided when I first wanted to draft it, I decided it had to be my first round pick because it has to be a linchpin on my team. Yes, it is weak to ice, fire, ground, and psychic, but you know, and flying, of course. I don't think it's weak, it's neutral to ground. But you know, the way I'm going to be running this thing occasionally is it's going to be interesting to see that fire types are not going to really be that useful. Ice types are not going to really be that useful. So I'm basically going to build in a thick fat ability to this Pokemon, and you know, Venusaur is going to be putting in a lot of work depending on what set I wanted to bring for each week. And that's the thing I like about Venusaur, the utility in the set. I usually like to pick things that are really good at one object, which is either speed and attack, or speed and special, or a defensive mon. But Venusaur does everything good across the board. So this is going to be a great utility mon, similar to how the mythical Pokemon run, where you can really make them any way you want. Venusaur has that capability for me, and I'm really excited to see what it does on this team. Moving into my second pick, we went with our Tier 1 Mega Sableye. Now, I am trying to build a team that is very, very weak to hazards, and I knew that coming into the draft. So this was on my radar very, very quickly. As soon as I drafted Venusaur, I'm like, Mega Sableye has to be my next bet. And the thing about Mega Sableye is I didn't think I was going to get it. I honestly thought somebody was going to grab it. I had Espeon on the back as a backup for this slot to deal with, because the Magic Best ability is what I really want. So Sableye is going to be a nice mon to come in, stop the bounces, also a really good defensive mon as well, and it synergizes very, very well with Venusaur. So these two mons together are going to be really good defensive tanks on my team, and Venusaur obviously can play the offense if it wants to. This thing is going to be so much fun to use, and the good thing about Mega Evolutions in this draft league is you do not have to Mega Evolve the first turn. So that means I can run a Prankster Sableye with some kind of like paralysis, maybe toxic on it, or burn, so I can cause something to be crippled right off the bat, and then that would be really cool to do. So Sableye's got a lot of decent utility in the back. It's going to be a fun defensive mon for me to run this season, and I'm really excited to use it on this team, especially once you see later in the team. I'm not going to spoil exactly what I'm doing yet, but you'll see it very, very soon, what I'm going to be planning with this team. So I'll let you guys see that as it comes. Next up, the next pick literally in the draft is going to be it's not going to be Mega Latias. It's going to be Latias. I needed a solid tier 2 mon, and Latias fit the bill. A lot of Pokemon that I wanted to draft at this point were taken. Things like Victini, that was going to be really good for my team. Other psychic types like that I wanted to grab, maybe a Mew or something like that. But I feel like Latias made a really good sense for my team. I was trying to start my Fairy Dragon Steel Core, so I had to pick up a Dragon type. And this thing also is very, very tanky. I've built a very defensive team right off the top, and I think a lot of people weren't expecting that. If you guys know my play style, I play very aggressive most of the time. I play fast, I play offensive. But with this team, I'm changing that up. I'm playing a lot more defensive, and picking a lot of mons that can do both be defensive walls and also be offensive. So Latias fits that bill really, really well. It's a great support mon with a lot of tech behind it. Like I can Healing Wish if I want to. I can set up Safeguard if I want to prevent against like status conditions or things like that. I could defog if I want to. This is going to be a defogger, another way to get rid of hazards if I have to deal with that. So I made sure I had my bases covered. This is a really solid pick, very powerful Pokemon, and also took Mega Latias off the board, which is I'm really excited about, because Mega Latias and Mega Latios are very, very powerful, and I just wanted to get that off the board. So I think grabbing the tier 2 Latias was a better grab for me. I do have the points to grab a tier 1. However, got my butt. I really was banking on this being my only tier 2, and having to draft something else later on in the draft was something that really kind of hindered my team a little bit, because pretty much this is the first draft I've ever done that I've lost pretty much everything I wanted to get. Everything that's on my draft board, I have like 20 to 30 Pokemon on that draft board, and everything on that board is taken. So I mean, that just shows how I know how to I guess that just shows my drafting capabilities. But also, I had a really, really interesting team setup and dynamic, and a lot of those things got taken early on. As I said, Victini, I was hoping that nobody has taken Victini in the past, really. It's kind of difficult to use if you don't know how to use it, but it was taken round 1, and, you know, I had to prioritize that Venusaur. So, I mean, I could have grabbed Victini instead of Venusaur, but I would not have got Venusaur. So it was a trade-off, and I think I made the right trade-off. Next up, we have Quagsire in tier 3. So now, this is something I want to talk about. Quagsire actually was not my draft pick. I actually, in this spot, drafted Porygon 2. I traded halfway through the draft with the New York Mets to get Quagsire for Porygon. And the reason I wanted Quagsire is I wanted a good ground type, I wanted a solid water type. I wanted something that's going to fit my team very, very well and very specifically. And Quagsire was something that I had on my draft board from the very beginning. Although I never expected anybody to take it. And the fact that somebody took it, like, literally this round, like, literally round 3, round 4, I guess. It was crazy. I was like, this is going to be something that's going to be here till, like, the 11th round, and I can pick it up late in the game. And it wasn't. So I had to do that trade. I didn't really want to trade Porygon because I felt like it was really good as a coverage mon on my team. Porygon gets a lot of different coverage moves and can do a lot of different things like that. But I really needed the tank that is Quagsire, and I really wanted Quagsire, so that is why it's on the team. And I traded the Porygon. I didn't really want to again, but I feel like Quagsire made a better bet for my team. And I think this is actually the first time in the history of the league where we've actually had a trade between two coaches. So very, very interesting, and I'm very glad to be a part of that. And thank you, Super Mew, for trading me the Quagsire. I really appreciate it. This thing is going to be very, very, very cool. Defensive, as I said, also can be very offensive, and it has some really cool abilities that I can play around with and, you know, deal with my opponents that way. Next up is Zapdos. I went with Zapdos for a tier 1. As you guys can see, I'm sticking with the trend of defensive utility mons. I have literally a bunch of defense right now. And I'm going to draft the offense later in the draft, but I wanted to get my defensive capabilities up. I've seen some crazy things go. We had, as I said already, Victini go. Pretty much every mythical Pokemon that's in the draft here has gone at some point. Diancie was drafted right off the bat. There's a lot of power coming out. And, you know, I'm kind of worried that without a defensive team like I have, we're not going to really have a lot of options. This also gives me another way to deal with Stealth Rocks and other entry hazards. It is very tanky. It also can be a very, very stalling mon with Roost. So Zapdos has a lot of utility and potential in this league. I don't know exactly what's going to be coming to counter it. It does get some good coverage moves, and I always have a really good special attack stat, so I can use a hidden power if I need to. But this thing really fits really well on this team, and I'm really glad to have it. Next up is the Torkoal. So as you guys can see, finally I reveal my strategy here. I grabbed Torkoal this round in tier 5, and you guys see that Sun team. Like, you look back, you can see a Sun team going through here. Did I miss one? No, I didn't. You can see that Sun team coming through here. It's gonna be interesting. I might run Sun, I might not. I mean, Torkoal has ability to run Shell Smash as well. So I mean, if I wanted to be crazy, I could run that set. Torkoal also is decently tanky on its own, so I might not even need to really set up the Sun at all. So it just depends on what kind of set I want to bring for Torkoal. And yeah, I have that potential to put up the Sun. So Sun team maybe? Question mark? I don't know. Check it out in the matches. I missed one, and so I don't know why it's not in here, but I did draft Arcanine right after this. Or right before this, actually. I must have missed the slide for it. So Arcanine is going to be on the team as well. It's going to be my offensive powerhouse. I wanted a very powerful offensive fire type as a potential to run for a Sun team. And, you know, Arcanine just does a lot of different things. It's got extreme speed, great priority move. It's got wild charge for electric coverage. It's got a bunch of coverage for every typing. And it's a really cool mon. It was in the potential for a trade. Dude was going to trade me for like Infernape for it. And I thought about it. I really did. Infernape's a really cool mon, but I feel like Arcanine fits my team a lot better. And so I went with Arcanine over that. And I'm sorry I left the slide out, but sometimes you make mistakes. And I'm not going to go back and fix it. Next up is Rideon, as you guys have already seen. So again, picking up another defensive mon. I wanted a good solid rock and ground type. I thought that, like, if I want to run a Sun team, really the only thing I got to worry about is grass types, and I should outspeed everybody who has a grass type anyway. That's why I want to get rid of Venusaur, because Venusaur is a detriment to a Sun team. 120% a detriment to a Sun team. So I had to grab that thing right off the bat if I wanted to get rid of that potential, if I decide to do Sun in a match. But I picked Rideon up here because, again, this thing is very, very tanky as it is. It can run Eviolite as well, making this thing very, very bulky. And then you don't even really have to put much investment into its attack stats for it to be a really good mon. It has a lot of coverage moves as well. It's very tanky, can sit in battles, take a few hits, as well as dish a big chunk of damage out to your opponent. So you have to be worried about Rideon as it comes in. And this also gives me a chance to have a pseudo-defensive Stealth Rock user as well. So I can set up entry hazards with this thing, and it'll be a lot of fun. Next up is Zeb Stryker. I went with another electric type here. Not really the most common thing on a Sun team, but I wanted to grab something that had a high speed tier. If you look at my team, I'm pretty slow besides that Arcanine really and Venusaur. But I wanted to grab something that was pretty fast, and Zeb Stryker is one of the fastest mons in the game. Also, this thing has great utility. It can volt switch in and out. It gives me a lot of potential to be on the offensive as well as get a leg up in different situations. So it's interesting to see this mon. It's going to put a dent into something whenever it comes out, and I'm glad that I finally got some speed. I also wanted to grab it this point in the game because I was surprised Tekkit hadn't grabbed it yet because he likes his ponies. you know why. And it was still around, so I'm like, I gotta get this thing. I honestly didn't expect it to be here, but I'm glad it is, so I got to pick it up and add Zeb Stryker to the team. Next up, we got Gardevoir. So I realized about this point in the draft I needed another tier 3. Everything I wanted was taken. If I got what I wanted, I would have had Quagsire and Porygon too, but I knew that wasn't an option since I had to trade Porygon to get Quagsire, which I thought was a better option. So I grabbed Gardevoir, and I'm actually really glad that I grabbed Gardevoir here, because I needed a good fairy type. As you guys know, I was trying to do a fairy dragon steel core, so I grabbed that fairy type now with a good psychic coverage. But yes, both of my fairy and my dragon are weak to dark, but you know, I have a lot of coverage for that dark type and that Sableye, so that's really good there. As well as I have some things that can tank it in the back with pretty much everything else on the team. So Gardevoir was a good option here. It's going to be somewhat fast for my team. It's going to have good offensive utility in psychic type moves, fairy type moves, and a bunch of coverage. So Gardevoir hopefully can put in the work and deal a lot of damage to a lot of people and catch a lot of people off guard. So this thing is very interesting. Wasn't on my original draft board. It was actually something I was going to pick up the last round of the draft, but I decided I needed it more than I needed the other things that I drafted. So I got Gardevoir, and it's going to be a cool part of the team. It's great to have it come back from season 1 where I really didn't use it at all. I believe I ended up trading it away at the end of the season. So yeah, it's good to have it back and joining the team. Next up, we got my man Ali. Hitmonchan coming back. Dude, I cannot leave one of my MVPs of last season out. Hitmonchan was something I really wanted on the team. I wanted a good fighting type, and I really don't think there's much else besides Hitmonchan. This thing could put offensive pressure on with an incredible attack stat. It's also got defensive capability, as we've seen last season. This thing won me a lot of my matches last season, so I'm really excited to have Hitmonchan back and joining this fray, because it's going to be something that teams are going to have to watch out for again, because as a tier 5 mon, Hitmonchan actually puts in a lot of work. I think it was one of my highest kill death ratios last season. So I'm very excited to see my Hitmonchan boy back, and just hoping it can put in the work like I did last season. My last draft pick is an odd one for me. I grabbed for Alligator here, and honestly, I wasn't expecting to get for Alligator. It wasn't on my initial draft board. It wasn't something I was looking at. As I said, I was trying to more go for a sun team, and grabbing a water type was not really my #1 priority. I thought Wash would have been a good option instead. However, it was drafted like round 2 or 3, something like that. It was drafted early rounds. So for Alligator, we're still on the board. I wanted something to grab either anywhere from tier 2 to tier 5, and I really thought that a water type would be really good here. I didn't want to lock myself into the situation where I have to run a sun team every time. And so with having for Alligator here, I really have a nice mon that also can run in sun, but it's going to be a little bit detrimented. But it also can do a lot of work. This thing is going to be could be a good setup sweeper. It's got Dragon Dance, it's got Swords Dance, it's got a lot of things that it can set up with. It's very offensive and powerful. Got flinch hacks that I can use pretty fast on my team. And I needed that mon that could do a lot of things offensively, and for Alligator just does that for my team, and I feel like it was a really good grab, and it's got some good coverage that's gonna throw some people off. So you know, maybe you see this thing in sun, I don't know, I can be crazy, it's gonna be weird, we'll see what happens. And last but not least, we have a Z Crystal pick, and I chose Groundinium Z. I kind of wanted Firium Z. It was drafted earlier, and I feel like someone kind of knew what I was trying to do, and they're like, oh, no, you're gonna get sniped, I'm not gonna let you have your Firium Z. But that actually is just one of the 2 crystals I wanted. I planned to either get Groundium or Firium Z off the bat, and it really just depended on my team. And me getting that Quagsire and having a Groundium Z on it, that could be an awesome tech. I have pretty much every mon on my team gets a ground type move in some shape or form. So this thing can be used a lot throughout the team, and I wanted something that's going to be not very visible. If I got Firium Z, everyone's going to spec that on my Arcanine right off the bat. It's going to be on the Arcanine. I'm going to use Z-Flare Blitz and just destroy something. I mean, that could have been a good tech. That was something I was thinking about, but I think Grounding Z, having the diversity pretty much in every single mod on my team, like barring like 1 or 2, it's going to be a good mod. It's a good crystal to have, and it's something that I can use in the back as a nice little gimmick to destroy somebody when they're not expecting it. So, and Ground's also one of the best typings in the game, so definitely a great Z crystal to grab there. And something I'm really excited about using on my team and using going forward. Well, guys, that is my draft. I hope you guys enjoyed the team. I think it looks really fire. Pardon the pun that I didn't realize until I literally just said it. But I think it's going to be a really good team. I'm really excited to see how it works. I honestly, if you had to ask me if this is one of my best drafts, I probably would tell you it's my worst one so far. Although Season 1 was pretty bad. I feel like I got a good team at the end of the draft. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I still have enough pieces put together that it's going to be a good team regardless. I might have to make some free agent trades here and there. I might have to trade with some other people. It might come down to the point where I'm like, hey, yo, I want that Infernape over this Arcanine. It might come down to that. I don't know. We'll see what happens later on in the season. But as of right now, your Detroit Red Wingulls are ready to go ham versus Tui and the Darby Dawn fans this coming week, week 1. I don't know how that happened, but Tui's going to get destroyed. Come check that out. And this is our first division face-off. So, again, I got to face Tui and Tekkit in my division. We're the only division that has 3 people in it because we have 9 people. So, the red division is going to be taken over by Chaos, and you bet it's going to happen. So, it's going to be a fun time. And definitely come out next week. Again, videos for this channel, as you guys can see, this comes out Sunday. If you guys missed the PDL podcast, preseason podcast, go back yesterday. It was on the channel. I streamed it with Tui, so check that out. But videos for this series and for the PDL Season 4, Sundays are going to be the team builders, and then Mondays are going to be the matches. So that'll start this week coming up. So this is obviously Sunday, so it's going to happen like that. Week 6, we do have a bye week, and we'll probably end up doing some bye weeks for Christmas and maybe Thanksgiving, things like that, like we usually do. So keep in mind, if you want a good way to check out when things are happening, and if we are doing a match that week, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I can't say !Twitter, it's not a live stream. Go to the description down below, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Discord. You can see all the fun stuff there. And, you know, hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoyed, if you're excited for the PDL Season 4 and the Detroit Red Wingulls. Your back-to-back champion, going for a 4th win in a row. Your boy's gonna do it, and even though we got some scary competitors this season, some new guys that have done Draft League before, your boy's gonna do it. I believe in the team, I believe in the heart of the cards, and we got this. So thank you guys for checking out my draft stream. Thank you for checking out this breakdown of my entire team. Again, next week on Sunday, we will start up with the breakdown for my week 1 matchup versus Tui and the Darby Dawn fans. So make sure you check that out on Sunday, and then watch the match coming up on Monday of next week. That's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time. So until then, my name is Chaos, and I'm signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.